This is a HeadGum podcast.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check that you're all stocked up on sprinkles before making cupcakes. They might not taste like anything, but they really complete the look of the cupcake. Checking first is smart, so check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Handsome, chatting with friends on the Handsome Pod. Chatting with friends on the Handsome Pod.
Pretty little episode.
It surprised me again.
Welcome to our pretty little episode. I'm your host for today, Fortune Feimster.
I'm also your host for today, Tig Notaro.
And we're also your hoes for the day. What?
Fortune Marie. Did you just call us hoes?
Yeah, for the day.
Oh my gosh, that is really
today.
dirty. Okay. That is some dirty talk, and
that's right.
It's not going to be happening when I'm involved, okay?
You like that? You like it when I talk like that?
Fortune Marie. No, I don't. I would like to keep our relationship friendly and professional. Okay?
I apologize, my friend.
But you do look very beautiful today.
Thank you. I have on my flannel. This is my lesbian outfit.
I love a flannel.
Right.
Thomas has one on too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who to choose. So, what is going on?
Life.
Still the aftermath of the fires going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I told you, we have some people moving into our office.
Yeah.
And we got a text again today seeing if there was more room or space anywhere. Yeah, a lot going on. Are you somebody that would be like, I'm done with all of the risks here in LA, I'm getting out? Or are you like, I'm staying? This is my place.
I'm staying. It's my place. But I don't know how I would feel if I lived in that community and your entire community's gone. Yeah. I would be probably hesitant to rebuild. Yeah. Being in that area that is prone to fires. Mm-hmm. You hope that that's an outlier, that it's something that wouldn't happen again. But Malibu is right adjacent to Palisades, and it's always being evacuated. So, that would be
not
tough
going to stop.
Start over there.
But people will.
People certainly will, because they love it so much. It's near the ocean. It's gorgeous. And they really have a beautiful community there.
Yeah, I get texts every now and then from Stephanie of like the migration from LA to New York and all of that.
Really? Oh, like upstate New York?
I think everywhere. Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, New York City, upstate New York. But all that really started in the pandemic as well. Yeah. Wanting a little more space and whatever. Yeah, we have moments where we're like, maybe we'll head out. And then, we have those moments, but also we have our kids who are so happy in their school. Yeah. They love our house. They love, their baseball and basketball leagues. And so we need to always be considering many different people. Yeah. But I'm flexible. Like if Stephanie was like, let's go, I'd be like, all right, let's go.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never lived in the Northeast. I am not a cold weather gal.
Yeah.
So that would be my hesitation.
You like to show off your gams.
I know. I like to be in my mini skirts and letting these legs fly in the sunshine. I've lived in LA for 21 years, so it's just so what I'm used to now.
Yeah, same. I had no interest in moving to LA, and then my childhood friends moved there, and then because we grew up together and moved everywhere, they all went to college, and I just followed them around smoking. And then they moved to LA, and I came with them, and I just thought, oh, I'll be here for 6 months and then I'll leave.
Yeah.
But then I started doing stand up and I got bolted to the ground. And ended up loving it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think when we had kids was when I started to see the city a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
And started to think, oh, it'd be nice if they had more space to play and could just get on their bikes and that whole thing. But then they started to have opinions of their own and were like, we like it here.
Yeah.
And Stephanie's whole family, they're all in California and,
That's nice.
Yeah. But I was just curious if you were having
I'm here.
any thoughts.
I'm here for now. I don't know. We've mentioned other places like during that time in the pandemic when everybody else did of like, what about this place or this place? And then we'd visit that place for a few days and then we'd be like, no.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's also easy to think, oh, I'll just leave. And then you think, are the restaurants going to be as good? Is the social life going to be as good? The entertainment, your social network, all of that.
Yeah. There is something magical about LA that, I mean, the city's changed a lot since the pandemic, so there are definitely cons, but there are a lot of pros too. And the magical part of LA is like how many times I've kind of pinched myself in a situation where I was like, I can't believe I'm at this table with this person. Like you just have these moments that are surreal out here because it's connected to the industry or people you've admired or, so you end up having these kind of magical nights here and there that you just like, if I told my, 15-year-old self that I'd be in this place doing this thing with these people, I would never believe it.
You'd think you were a liar.
And
now you've become somebody that people would be like, I was at dinner with Fortune Feimster last night.
That.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Coming full circle.
And she asked if I was going to finish my steak or my baked potato.
And she didn't wait for an answer.
And she just started eating it.
She just swiped the things.
Should we get to some questions?
I think we should. That's what we're here to do.
Yeah, it is.
This question comes from Tori.
Hey, handsomes. Super love you guys. I am sitting here with my sweet little fur baby Roxanne, and we have a question for you. I often listen to you guys when I'm doing my side gig. So my question is, what is the craziest, silliest, most fun thing that you ever did before you were so handsomely successful to make money? Can't wait to hear your answers.
I think this was pretty fun. For my first 7 years in Los Angeles, I was an entertainment journalist. It started in 2003. I had a job, and the person I was working for, her neighbor, heard. She's like, "I heard you can write. Would you be interested in like going to movie premieres or parties around town and just writing up a blurb for me?" She wrote for the LA Daily News, and I was like,
"You're like little old me."
Yeah, I was like, that sounds cool. I was like 23 years old, just moved to LA, and I was like, I get to go to movie premieres. That's cool. So
yeah,
I just kind of learned. I went with her to 2 events, kind of saw how she did it, and just kind of like taught myself how to be a journalist.
Wow.
And did that for a while. I think I helped her for like a year, and then this other column was looking for part-time help, and she gave them my information, and I started working for them part-time. So that part-time job ended up leading to a full-time job for them. So for that whole time, I started going to all these events and award shows, and I interviewed people on the phone and got to interview like really amazing performers and directors and writers, and went to sets and went to the Oscars and the Grammys and the Emmys and was in the press room. And it was, if I wanted to be a journalist, that would have been like, oh, I've made it.
Yeah.
I just knew it wasn't what I wanted full time. I was pursuing comedy at night, but the people I wrote for were really supportive and knew I had this dream. And so they, my job was what paid my bills, and it was really rewarding. But then they also were very supportive of me pursuing comedy. So it was pretty perfect. And then that went until 2010. And then the newspapers, we wrote for like 100 newspapers and online, and the newspapers started folding. So they didn't have the money to pay me anymore. So it kind of came to an end just because of that. And that's kind of what gave me the leaving the nest to pursue comedy full time.
And so you were starting to feel like, oh, I want to try stand up.
Yeah, I started Groundlings in 2005 first, and then stand up in 2007. Okay. And then 2010 was when I stopped being a journalist, and I did Last Comic Standing, and then 2011 is when I got Chelsea Lately.
Okay.
So it was a great job. I had so many cool experiences that I got to do, and talk to, like, my first person I ever interviewed on the phone was Betty White. I got to talk to so many amazing people.
And so as a journalist, was that a decent living?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't pay for someone who didn't grow up with money. I made basically kind of what a teacher makes. So it wasn't like extravagant, but I could pay my bills.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check that the 1,000-piece puzzle you're eyeing at your neighbor's garage sale actually has all 1,000 pieces before you buy it. Time to get counting. Checking first is smart, so check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love music, and I play guitar and drums, but a very basic musician. And I didn't feel comfortable on stage doing that. I tried a few times, but I was like, oh God, like it's so weird that I can do stand up. But when I played guitar on stage, I was so nervous and uncomfortable. Yeah. Like my hands would be trembling. But I wanted to be around the world of music. And so my girlfriend at the time had a band, and I started managing and booking her band.
Oh,
and,
cool.
Yeah. So, and that led to me meeting people at record labels, and I would be hired as like a independent promoter for different bands that were coming through different cities. And yeah, the music world, it was fun. And I started working with a couple other bands as well, and booking them. And I think actually working in that world it really helped me with my career as a comedian, because I realized that, so many people, when they start out, they're like, why am I not getting that job? Or I want this, or I want that manager, agent, or whatever. And what I realized through working with bands was you have to do so much of your own work to get yourself to a certain point to make yourself appealing to people and places that want to work with you. So I just put my head down for the longest time. I didn't worry about reps or any, managers, agents, anything like that. I was just like, I need to get good at stand up. And then once I have something to present to somebody, then I'll go for it.
Yeah.
But it was really fun at the time to hop in the tour van with my girlfriend or the other bands that I was friends with too, and just go on tour and act like a hard-nosed manager.
Were you good at acting like a hard-nosed manager?
I feel like I was good at the job,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't really a hard nose, but I was like, I mean, I probably came across as hard nosed because when I was much younger, I was so surrounded by my shell of protection that I was probably a little off-putting or hard to approach. So that kind of folded into, yeah, I'm a hard-nosed manager, but not really if you talk to me.
Right.
I'm just scared and wounded. That's why my face looks angry. But but yeah, so that worked to my advantage.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's like we had these other lifetimes.
Yeah, and it's also funny because, it having that job, it made me realize that people in those jobs can just wake up one day and be like, I'm a manager.
Yeah.
I'm an agent.
We talk about that all the time, that there's so many jobs, especially in LA, that people just decide they're that thing.
Yeah.
And it requires no education or skill or experience. People are just truly, like, I'm this now.
Yeah, I'm a manager. And it works for a lot of people. But having had that job, it really made me realize, like, I know what's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And I woke up one day and said, I'm a manager. And so, but yeah, there's really great managers that woke up one day and said, I'm a manager.
Yeah.
And then there are others that are not.
Figured it out.
Yeah. But
others did not.
But yeah, I mean, it's the same with a comedian. Like I woke up one day and said, I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
So many jobs in this industry don't need anything except, you work on stuff for a little while, get your bearings, and you're off to the races. And I think that's probably why it appeals to somebody like myself with a 7th grade education. Okay, should we hear Tori's answer?
Yeah.
So my answer is, many years ago, as a young lady, I used to have to dress up as a hot dog and host children's birthday parties. It was not my finest moment. I definitely needed money, but you know what? $100 a party is $100 a party.
That's what's up.
Even dressed as a hot dog. Super love you guys. Thank you for the uplifting content every week. Have the most wonderful 2025.
You too, Tori.
Yeah, Tori in the bun.
I don't think I ever got invited to a birthday party where someone was dressed as a hot dog.
Really? That's the only ones I go to, Fortune. I'm going to get you a hot dog for your next birthday party.
Okay, good.
Maybe we could reach out to Tori. I wonder if she still fits into her hot dog costume. All right, let's see. What else do we have, Mr. Thomas?
Hi, handsomes. My name is Kathy, and I am calling you from Newfoundland, Canada. And my question is, do you have a specific phrase or word that you realized as an adult you have been saying wrong your whole life? I'll give you an example. My husband did not find out until he was about 28 years old that a grapefruit is not a great fruit. He thought it was a GREAT fruit because it was bigger than the other fruits.
A grapefruit.
I love how she uses an example of her husband. I guess we're going to find out later what hers is. Oh, okay. I thought she was like, this guy, huh? I mean, right away, it reminded me of when I was a kid. I thought, dress code. You have to wear a certain dress code, or there's a certain dress code. I thought it was dress coat.
Oh, yeah. Adhere to the dress code.
Yeah, adhere to the dress code.
There's like phrases that sometimes I get, like people say I could care less or I couldn't care less. It's I couldn't care less, right?
Yeah, because you're at the bottom. There's no room to care more.
But a lot of times people will say I could.
Or no,
I could
there's
care
room
less.
to care more. There's absolutely no room to care less.
Yeah, that one's always confusing for me.
Well, I just picture it in like a tub of caring, and you're at the very bottom, and underneath that, there's no
room.
There's also phrases where I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I say it correctly, but I'm like, what is by and large?
By and large.
You know, like by and large.
In and of itself.
Yes. Yes, it's that kind of thing. By and large,
by
you're
and
the
large
best comedian
really doesn't
working.
make sense.
No. Whenever somebody says that, I'm like, by and large. Okay.
By and large.
By and large.
My mom's been on me. I don't say this one because my mom's is the grammar police and she's drilled this into my head forever.
Yeah.
But irregardless is not a word. So if you say irregardless, stop.
There was a comedian a long time ago, Freddie Soto. He passed away. He was a comedy store comedian, and he had a whole bit on irregardless.
Really?
Yeah. He was famous for his irregardless bit.
Funny. I'll have to look it up.
Well, an ex of mine used to always say Chester drawers rather than chest of drawers. She'd be like, put that in my Chester drawers.
That's funny.
Like, that is not what that's called.
I really don't know if I have. I'm sure there's words that I've not used correctly or mispronounced, but.
Oh, I know mine. I was doing my very first podcast, which was very many years ago, and I was just casually chatting, and I said, "Oh, careful, you don't want to tump that over." And my co-hosts were like, "I'm sorry, what did you say?" And I was like, "Oh, you just want to make sure you don't tump that over." And they're like, "Tump? What? Like, that's not a word. What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is." But I don't know if it's same from where you come from, but it's Southern dialect. To tump is to knock something over. And I didn't find out until I was probably late 30s that tump was not a word.
It's not a word.
What about you? Did you grow up saying tump?
Never heard tump.
Wow.
Yeah. Because normally I do know some of those random Southern phrases.
Well, I also say wasn't. I wasn't going to do it.
Wasn't.
Or it doesn't. It doesn't matter.
I say it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I wasn't going to do it. Another person I dated used to say, "I feel like I'm dating George Bush Jr." When because I wasn't going to do it. Wasn't going to do it.
Wasn't going to do it.
Wasn't going to do it. I'm going to tump that over. All right, let's hear Kathy's answer.
Yeah.
I thought that when you hauled off and punched somebody really hard, it was called a soccer punch, like a soccer ball was hitting them. I did not know it was called a sucker punch until I was way too old to learn new information. So that's my answer. I love the podcast. Love all of you.
We love you too, Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy.
And Tori. What great listeners we have.
We sure do.
Yes,
they really
we
get
do.
us thinking.
Yes. Yeah. Wasn't going to do it at first. But anyway, submit your questions.
Got by these questions.
Yeah. These questions really tumped us right over. Submit your questions at speakpipe.com/handsomepod. That is speakpipe.com/handsomepod. And really get into your handsome brains and pull out some interesting, weird, obscure kind of questions.
Hit us with your best shot.
That's right. And always check out my website if you want to see what I'm up to or where I'm out and about. Out and about
Newfoundland.
That's right. Do you have anything to say before we wrap this up?
Just appreciate everybody that's gives us questions. It's fun to hear from you guys. And I'm on the road too. Go to my website. Come see a show. Buy some merch at thehandsomepod.com.
Yeah.
And until then,
keep it pretty handsome.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check that you've got a sleeve full of quarters before heading to the arcade for an afternoon of pinball and air hockey. Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
That was a HeadGum podcast.